a TV show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced and get happy with Dr. Marissa. And this show is about hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So I have shows and topics.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days.
Monday, Tuesday,
Happy days.
Wednesday, Thursday,
Happy days.
Friday, whatever.
Happy days.
What a day. Na, 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 na.
I love you.
I love you too.
Best known as the mom from Happy Days, and she is a delightful 89-year young Marion Ross to my studio. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Dr. Marissa, this is such a treat for me.
Oh.
My goodness, you're a wonderment.
Which is exactly the kind of guest that I like. Those who have gone through life, good and bad, and then taken those experiences to alchemize them into the person they are now and doing good on the planet. I'd like you to welcome Corey Feldman.
If you're grateful for it and you say right away, thank you, God. Oh, my God, it's so beautiful. I'm so blessed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Then guess what? More good things will come to you.
Does this sound familiar at all? She's back again to mark my Cancer Awareness and Prevention Month show. Please welcome Fran Drescher. Hi, Fran.
On and supporting cancer schmance. I really appreciate it.
So what would you say are some of the biggest myths, Fran, that people have about cancer?
Well, I would say that they think that there's a cure for it.
Okay.
Instead of a cause for it.
This is the first call-in show when I get to be Dr. Marissa, the kinder, gentler Dr. Laura. And people call in to get their life tires balanced and their critical thinking or their BS, their belief systems, smog checked. And today I am delighted to have Malie calling in from Birmingham, Alabama.
We could go 90 days and end up having terrible sex. And then you say, well, the relationship's not all about sex. Well, if I'm not getting great sex from you, then I'm going to get it from somebody else. Right?
That moose just got put on the table. And I see Josh and Jim.
I have to agree
You're
with Clyde.
both nodding. Ramon's sort of half nodding because his wife's listening. But
I understood what was going to happen if I, Muhammad Ali's youngest daughter, made public that I was going to become a boxer. So I wanted to make sure this was the path that I wanted to go down.
You are absolutely fabulous, beautiful inside and out. And I'm giving you Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award today.
Thank you.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic point.
When I go, I'm gone.
Are you lonely?
No.
Nah, I knew that was going to be
But I surround myself with people. I mean, I'm always the one cooking for things. Or I'm always the one that decorates first and come to my house. All the orphans that have no place.
I'm going to have no place to go, so I can come over.
Come on over.
And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned into, Frank is in studio here. Welcome to Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News Radio, and NBC Sports, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Streaker, Spreaker, and more. And I am your hashtag positively opinionated host, and I am here. It is Wednesday because when you see Dr. Tiffanie Tate, it's time for our very special series called Doctors in the House. Please welcome back to my studio, Dr. Tiffanie Tate. Good morning, darling.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Yes. And you're in San Francisco right now. I mean, you're looking at San Francisco. This is my daughter's place. She invited me up. This is the gratitude for our gratitude sandwich, taking a bite of our gratitude sandwich, our morning blissipline. So I'm having breakfast with my co-host this morning. 8 things that we are specifically grateful for the top of the bun. If you're in the chat, my cashew gallery, very wonderful active cashew gallery, as Troy's streaming in from Chicago. We have a new streamer here, Zenobia Queen. Good morning. Welcome to the cashew gallery. Please do participate with your gratitudes because I want you to start your day in the most positive way. So my first gratitude, I just said, was being able to stream from San Francisco, where I'm having, I just had a book signing yesterday. That's 2. And then I'm going to be making my famous Thanksgiving spread for my daughters who invited me up. That's 3. And the rest of the gratitudes you can have.
Okay. I am thankful and grateful to be streaming from Nashville, Tennessee. And I am grateful to have my children, both Nathaniel and Mia, to be with me. And I am grateful to find out that my daughter will be singing with the LA Philharmonic on December. In December for their Christmas program. So yes, he was like, "Oh, in passing, what are you doing, Mom? Are you available on this date? Because I was selected to sing with the LA Philharmonic." I'm like, "I will make myself available to go and see you."
I'm going to be her new honorary aunt, and I think I'm going to join you because Dr. Tiffany sent me a couple of rough things she put together, and they were not rough. And her voice. We played her for you for Veterans Day special when it was before Veterans Day. What a beautiful voice. And some of you don't know, Dr. Tiffany is also a singer. We're all retired lounge lizards, I think, to qualify for the show. And her daughter's voice did not fall far from her mama's musical tree. So I'm just so excited for her. And so if you are a music scout at all, please do contact Dr. Tiffany Moore or I. I used to run a children's talent model agency, and I really wish I still had that. It was up in Toronto, but it's really making me want to become an agent again because I get to be exposed to so much great talent. And I'm just so delighted. I'm looking forward to watch her just get better and better and better. I have Ranella who contacted me on Instagram. She's an amazing singer as well. And then Trace Austin, the grandson of Otis Williams. So I think it looks like I'm going to have a new agency by the time I'm done here. But anyways, that is gratitude at the top of the bun. Let's see. We've got another gratitude here. Thankful. I just love Troy. I don't know if he makes me laugh. Sometimes he misses a letter or a word or whatever, but they're funny.
I'm thankful that I remembered to take out the turkey to start defrosting. Yes. Chloe, I couldn't find the turkey yesterday, by the way. That was supposed to be defrosting. I went to turn it over and the turkey's missing. So there's going to be an interesting find after the show. And welcome to Maria, who is here from Colorado. She's in meetings, but she is streaming. And I do believe that as the Zen, no, this is where is she? She's also in meetings. Zanalbia?
She's my sorority sister. You can call her Stephanie.
Stephanie. All right. Stephanie doesn't say that, but oh, well, Maria, she's thankful for not falling asleep in this meeting. She's in a board meeting. Get it? So let's go to the bottom of the bun. For those of you who just tuned in, yes, it is. Take my advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show, and it is Wednesday. So it is our Doctors in the House series. We're finishing our breakfast by saying what we like about ourselves. The reason why I do this is I believe my BS, my belief system is the hallmark of good mental health is self-approval, self-care, self-love, as opposed to self-loathing, self-hatred, or that very critical self that we're all familiar with. So what do you like about yourself? What can you give yourself credit for? Dr. Tiffanie, take it away.
I like my humor.
I like my flexibility.
I like my creativity.
I like my articulation.
And I like my ability to love.
And my final is I love my ability to love out loud. And that's it. I promise you that if you do this Blisscipline for the next 28 days, you'll make a good habit out of breakfast, taking a bite out of my gratitude sandwich, and you will sandwich your day in the most positive way. And you'll be less likely to be looking for love in all the wrong places. So the gratitude's in the morning, the appreciation's at night before you go to bed. And I challenge you to do that, and I know you will. All right. It's your turn now, Dr. Tiffanie, to introduce the topic that you picked for this week. Oh, hold on one second. I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back to the studio, Ismael Cortez. I think he was my original Cashew Gallery attendee. He's streaming him from Riverside. And by the way, if you, so I don't forget, Riverside is the closest I know to Coachella. I have a free pass for the Magic of Lights drive-through. So Ishmael or anybody who is wanting a free car pass to go through this beautiful festival of lights, just go to drmarissa.life and put in lights in the subject line, and I will send you those tickets. Sorry, go ahead. I forgot to do the Asian Oprah giveaway yesterday.
Well, that's a good thing. So one of the other things that I guess I can say I'm grateful for and thankful for is my ability to forgive, which leads me into the topic for today, family, friends, and forgiveness. And I'm wearing a t-shirt that says, "Don't be salty." I don't know if you can see the bottom. Salty. More salty girl.
She's flashing her.
That's why I'm kind of casual today. So my t-shirt.
It's so cute. I got dressed up for you, and you're casual. I think I'm going to go change.
We flip-flop today. And so I think it's important because when we start looking at things and as we prepare for the holidays, a lot of times we go into the holidays with a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, and a lot of disgruntledness. And you have to figure out, okay, what can I do? How do I deal with this? And what is forgiveness? And forgiveness is an intentional, let me say that again, an intentional decision to let go of any resentment or anger that you might have towards a member of your family or a friend that you might encounter during the holidays, because it can make things difficult, or even a coworker during these work parties or just everyday work environments. And so I thought this would be a good subject for us to tackle at this time, because we can all just get along a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. Let it go, let it go. My favorite theme song for this topic of forgiveness. Well, thanks for that topic. If you are at all identifying with either someone you know that has an issue with someone in their family or a coworker, or maybe it might be yourself, please do put those examples in the chat. As usual, the first half of the show, I like to keep it real. I like to put the moose on the table and talk about, the reality of the topic. And then the second half will focus in on solution, as I also like to do. And just a prequel, Dr. Tiffanie is an MD. She is an OBGYN licensed, and I am a PhD, which just stands for piled higher and deeper. Neither one of us are licensed therapists in the traditional sense, but we are both coaches that have been coaching people for a while. So we want to just qualify. We don't have any side effects that you're going to suffer from by prescribing what we are prescribing as solutions, but we do want to just qualify that on the air. All right. So let's see. I have clients who say, I don't want to go home for the holidays because I hate my mother, father, aunt, people who have done wrong to me. Weddings and funerals, they say, bring out the worst in people sometimes. So something happened in the past, and as a result, I don't want anything to do with that person. They either don't go, or if they go, they don't speak to the people that they are angry with. Frozen smile, seething sharks underneath the surface, work, co-workers, have to work with them. And it's just a constant, you see them coming down the hall, you'll duck into the bathroom to avoid having to say anything in person to them. Keeping it somewhat civil in written communication. Someone I know who just talked to me about someone at work who just did something stupid and is now trying to make up with her, and she doesn't want to. So, lots of those are my examples of unforgiveness during the holidays, or actually any time. What are yours? And
I'll give some generic experiences, and then I'll give a personal experience. Okay. And generic experiences could be, okay, someone said something about you to Sally Sue, you found out about it, and now when you see them, you start having physical symptoms, you start having palpitations, you start having stomach pains, and it starts to affect you physically, because now you are physically manifesting those anger and that resentment, and it's unhealthy. And again, you start hiding and you start feeling frustrated, and you don't want to talk to that person. You don't want to be around that person. You start feeling that heat, that overwhelming warmth, and you start feeling swollen up in your chest, and you just want to burst out, and you start to resent them. Or you are in a relationship, and instead of speaking up and speaking out to the person, you start acting out and you start lashing out as opposed to communicating. And I will say, when I was growing up, I had issues with my mom. And it was hard for me, because I was a child, to verbalize those issues with her. And so I carried frustration, I carried resentment, I carried anger. And when she became sick with cancer, I had to actually take care of her. So I really had to pray, because I was an only child. And it was hard for me to really rationalize and come to terms with those demons that I thought I had got over. And I had to realize I did not get over those. And so it took a lot for me to put aside that and rise up above those and to come to terms with that and to take care. So we'll circle back to that when we start talking about solutions.
Yes.
But a lot of times we don't realize that it's a festering scar, and sometimes it's a scab and there are triggers and you don't even realize that they're there. And so forgiveness enables us to overcome that anger and frustration, but there's a lot of things that are there and we don't even realize it.
Yes, very well said. There's a couple of comments. I'm not going to put them up yet because it is part solution. So I want to just stay with the issue before we go into solution. I do see your comments, Troy, and they're great, part solutions. But I just wanted to stay real only because, when we are talking about holidays, when I overhear people say, I hate the holidays, it just breaks my heart. Because for me, it is a season of joy. It is a chance to connect and reconnect. And, sometimes if you live far away, you don't see family for a while, or, there's just so much potential for goodness and love and joy. However, for many people, and I think, for COVID, for people who are positively minded or more, optimist or, optimist creed, they, were like, oh, wow, you really don't know, you miss something unless you have it taken away. So the ability to travel and the ability to get together was something, oh, I'm really grateful now we can get together. The other ones are maybe still in that, well, I don't need to go anywhere, don't want to go anywhere. And I especially don't want to go to a place where someone did me wrong. And let's just qualify that. It's not natural to not react. We're not saying, or I'm not saying, I know you are in the same mind. It's human. If someone says something crappy about you, it doesn't feel good. Don't be like George Costanza's father, in that episode where, every time somebody did something or said something cruel to him, he went, serenity now. Like, it doesn't bother me. And of course it bothers you. So I'm not saying that things that were done to you were not real. You spoke about your mom, Tiffanie. I've been very open about, my Chinese mom used negative motivation. All right, you're fat, you're ugly, and you're clumsy. In her mind, those were the terms to make me be sure that I did not eat too much, or that I did not, take care of how I looked or stay in the sun too long and all of that. But instead, it scarred me. It really, as a child, I was wounded. But my coping devices to hate or to prove you wrong or to starve myself so that I could, prove you wrong, were not healthy coping mechanisms. So, I found myself after decades still hating her so much that I would not want to go. Why do you think I moved so far from Canada? That was definitely one of the reasons. But now I choose because I love California. But until I dealt with that unforgiveness, it didn't matter where I moved. I was still operating on F you, I'll prove you wrong, which is usually what unforgiveness sounds like. That's one of the records of unforgiveness.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Absolutely. Forgiveness enables us to overcome that anger, overcome our feelings of resentment, and, or a desire to punish or even get even with the other person. Sometimes it's like, I'll show you, get you. And it doesn't really help because that just kind of piles on the wrongs and layers on the negativity. And when it comes to friends, when a friend does you wrong, sometimes, the Bible is like a friend sticks is closer than a brother. But when a friend does you wrong, sometimes it feels like they've stabbed you in the back. And when they don't acknowledge that they've done you wrong, sometimes that hurts you even more. Mm-hmm. And so when they do you wrong and then they don't acknowledge it, it really hurts. And all you want is an apology. And sometimes you never get it.
Yes. And at the same time, sometimes no matter if they do apologize or not, it's not good enough. My poor husband, I will give him this. Don't usually say poor husband, but I will remember many instances where I would say from my insecurity, so how do I look? Right. And he would say, you look fine. And that wouldn't be good enough because it's like, well, I had to ask you, you know. So he was damned if he did and damned if he didn't. Right. So that is my responsibility. Even if they apologize for me, it's not good enough. Right.
It wasn't sincere. Yeah.
Well, if I have to ask for it, right, it doesn't count. So that puts people in such a horrible situation. You know, when you're making people responsible for how you feel, this is what happens. So regardless of all the things that we're about to turn the corner now on solution, because there's so much great comments on there. I don't want to leave them out. I think we've qualified now that this happens to everybody, and to own the feelings of anger, righteous anger. Oh, my bonus dad will say the most dangerous resentment is justified anger, because there's a reason for it, and you have every right to be pissed off. I had every right to be pissed off at my mom, because mothers are supposed to be your biggest fan, your biggest, your to tell you you're the most beautiful. That's what it's supposed to be.
Your cheerleader, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Your best friend, which is also, you know, one of those BS belief systems that sets you up for failure, right? So, let's move. So you have every right to be angry for 16 seconds. And here I'm going to turn the corner on solution. It's my BS belief system. I'm a law of attraction coach and a teacher of this principle that says you can be human and have your feelings, but there's a point at which the negative reaction becomes habitual. And when that knee-jerk reaction becomes habitual, then you get pet peeves, you are revengeful, you're resentful, and revenge is way overrated, as you were saying earlier, you know, to go back and do that. So that the movement through your human feelings is the corner I'm going to turn for the solution. But go ahead.
I believe that a lot of times when you are hurt, depending on when you are hurt and the severity of the pain will determine what it is that you need to do. I know for me, I grew up in turmoil, essentially. While I was raised by my aunt, both my parents struggled with drug abuse. And while I never knew my father, my mother was always there in and out of my life. But again, she struggled with drug abuse. And when she was under the influence, let me just say, she was verbally abusive towards me. And like your mother was verbally abusive, so was mine from time to time. And that was traumatic for me. So I needed to go through counseling, and it helped me a lot. So my counselor actually had me write a letter to my mom. This was after she had passed away, because I had a lot of feelings, unresolved feelings that I had to still navigate through, that I didn't realize I was still struggling with, even though she had passed away. And I didn't even realize that there were triggers that I still had to deal with, even though my mother had already passed away. So you can still carry the burden of anger and frustration, even though that person isn't around. You don't even know that you're still carrying around the burden and the baggage of resentment, because there are triggers when Mother's Day comes around and things like that. Now, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love my mother, and I deal with the loss of not having her around, but you can still bear the burden of that. So what is it that you can do that you can try to help you? There's this book that I bought. I don't know if you can see it.
Forgiving what you can't forget. Ah, isn't that funny how I put that in the promo, not knowing you were going to show this book?
I know, and she did not know that. But
I
this is
moving from forget me not to forgive me not, or the other way around. Interesting. Okay,
yes,
go ahead.
this is an incredible book to help you through trauma. And I think it is a transformative book to help you process different things. Now, you can write a letter to people who have hurt you, and you don't necessarily need to give it to them because some of the things that you might say might not necessarily be good. But you just want to get it out of your body and get it out of your system. You can, if you don't want to write a letter, you can write 3x5 cards. But you definitely want to get it out of your system and process it. And sometimes people say, write an email and don't send it. I don't say do anything electronic because sometimes you can accidentally hit send. That's why I say, do the regular write paper and pen. And just write it out, get it out, and have it there. You can burn it, you can shred it, you can cut it up. Ripping it up is therapeutic, and it helps you process it. And you can do that as many times as you need to help you. Or you can keep it and you can read it over and over again till you feel better. Those are some things that you can do to help you process it. It is cathartic and it is energizing. It is okay to be angry. It is okay to be frustrated. You have every right to how you feel, but that other person doesn't have a right to be a burden on you. You have a right to peace, you have a right to joy, and you have a right to get this out of you.
Yes, really, really great points there. I'm going to flip up some of the solutions we have in our chat. Troy from Chicago. Let it go. You don't have to comment and respond to everything. Sometimes silence is golden, and changing the subject is a display of wisdom. I'm not very good at biting my tongue. Yeah, I have holes in my tongue all the time. And if someone wrongs you, the sin is theirs. If you refuse to forgive, you give up the high ground and bring yourself down to match them. Yes, absolutely. So I that reminds me of Thich Nhat Hanh. I love using this illustration that he uses. If someone burns down your house, resist the urge to go and run after them and burn down their house, which is the regular reaction. You hurt me, I'm going to go hurt you. That's a normal human, reaction. Instead, turn around and put out the fire in your own house. So those very wise words, okay, are attached to another beautiful African-American saying that I love. I haven't used it in a while. And it says, no one outside of you can hurt you if you're not hurting yourself on the inside. I'm not saying that correctly. It's been a while, but I love that. The concept is there, right? Mm-hmm. If you know whatever anyone says to you about you, it can only affect you if there's a part of you that actually believes that and allows that to hurt you. That's huge. Like, what are you talking about? Because, and it took me a little while to see that the only reason why my mom's constant, and she still does it, last week was the last time, have you gained weight? And, and it zinged me. And the reason why it still zings me is because there's a part of me that still says you're fat, you're unattractive, and therefore her continued words will hit the mark. My goat is out there to get. My shoulder has a chip that you can see. So it's my work to soothe and remove those triggers, or at least acknowledge them so that it can bounce off. And I'll finish that with a friend of mine was, I was like, I got to do my once a quarter visit to my Chinese mom in Toronto, and I know she's going to say something about my weight and da da da. And she said, Marissa, grow flowers all over your body so that when someone picks at you, they get a flower.
And I would tell you, become Teflon so that it just slides right off. And I don't know if you remember when you were a kid, you would say, I'm rubber and you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks to you.
I have never heard that. I've only heard the sticks and stone can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Say that again.
I'm rubber and you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks to you.
Ooh, 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 ooh. Hold on. I do. Dang! I love that. Love that. Okay, I'm gonna have to remember that one. And if you have a knee-jerk reaction, most likely you're gonna look like a jerk. That's one I use all the time. So there's some solution right there. I'm gonna go really deep for a second, because this is part of my BS belief system that has allowed me to have the incredible I love my life. And I learned it from my big brother, Reverend Michael, Dr. Bernard Beckwith, who told me, actually, he wasn't even talking to me. I took a class called the Universal Principles of Spirituality. And he said to me, he said to a woman who said, I can forgive my husband. She said ex-husband, but I cannot forgive my mother. And I sat up and I went, oh, that sounds very familiar. And his response just shook me, and it completely changed my life forever, which was, let's just say that whatever she said or however she was, that's just the way it is. And yeah, you wish it was different, but it was as it was. Based on who she was and what she said, as a direct result of those insults or pain or physical abuse or mental abuse or emotional abuse, did anything develop in you as a quality, as a trait, as part of your personality? Did anything develop in you that you actually like? Like, is there a part of you as a direct response to all of that crap? Is there something that developed in you that you like about yourself? And it stopped me, and I went, well, I'm resilient, I'm strong, I'm compassionate. And all of a sudden it was like, OMG, instead of looking at this as something that was a wrong done to me, it was something that was done for me to develop me into exactly who I am now.
Amen.
Now, some people say to me, yeah, but don't you think you could be this way without having all that crap on you? And it's like, well, yeah, woulda, shoulda, coulda, who, maybe. But all I know now for sure is I am this way as a direct result of the good, the bad, and the ugly. The chiseling pain of life, right, helped me be who I am now. 88% fabulous, 12% of the time I step in it. But I would not change this for the world. Now, you have a choice. You can either be the bigger person and forgive someone because you're the bigger person, which to me is in principle nice, but it still will trigger you because now you're like better than them. Instead of seeing yourself as better than them, I say this. I have a choice. I had the choice 15 years ago when he said that to me. I could go and move into the direction that I did, which is everything that happened for me, and my mom's, all of her stuff helped shape me into me.
There's a song that says that.
Yeah, let me just finish this one. I know I'm going long. Sorry, you get the rest of the show. But this is like the most important thing. I had a choice. I could either stay in the anger, resentment, resentment, bitterness, resentment for the rest of my life. And I was justified to do it because she should not have done that. Mother should not do that. I could have stayed that way for the rest of my life, and I would have had a really shirty life, because I'm fine when I'm up, but then as soon as I'm alone and I'm drinking, then I go into that horrible dark place. I had a choice. I'd done that well for a couple of decades. I could do that for the rest of my life, or I could take what he was offering and say and choose to believe, which is my truth right now, that everything happens for my divine and best good. And even that abuse happened to help me be who I am. And I do love my life. So there you go. I rest my case.
Well, I was going to say there's a theme song. I'm gonna
Amen. Yeah. The only qualification, it was not my mistake. I did not make a mistake as a child to get abused. However, so you always have a choice. I didn't have a choice when I was a kid, but I have a choice as an adult to either drag all that into my present and spew it onto my future, or I have a choice to leave it there, process through the pain. You have to process through the pain. So I'm going to give you a couple of books, other books. You mentioned that book that you pulled up. I'm going to show, this was instrumental to my healing as well. It is called The Toxic Parents, and it also has you write a letter that you do not send, but it's for you. So if you want to do some deep work, that is one of them. Another book that I'm going to use is called You Cannot Make Me Angry, which is also a great book that you can get, that is by Paul O. If you want to do some work. And then, at the risk of being self-serving, people have said that this book is also very helpful in processing through, because I have exercises that will have you work through what I'm talking about. So you can get all of those on Amazon. All right.
Okay. And so, again, she's giving you lots of resources. And so why should you forgive? Because it's healthy for you. We know that studies show that when you don't forgive, you have high levels of adrenaline and cortisol, and that can lead to severe medical problems like ulcers, gastritis, as well as irritable bowel syndrome. And so who wants any of those issues right there? And so we know that it's just good for your health, and it'll make you feel better overall. And we just know that we want you to be healthier and happier, right? 80% of the time.
And I will say that I have met in my coaching practice many women, especially, who say, I just don't deal with my mom. Usually, if it's not one thing, it's your mother. I just don't deal with her. I don't see her. I don't talk about her, and I'm fine. And the fine is effed up, irrational, neurotic, and emotional, because you cannot pretend that it doesn't bother you, because it'll come out sideways. So again, the choice is yours. You either deal with this, or it will come and deal with you.
Mm-hmm.
And
handle your business before your business handles you.
Exactly. And I'm just saying that because it is the number one reason people are unhappy, is because there's some level of pain, underlying pain from their past, that is infected. And you can either, again, choose to allow that. Sometimes it doesn't come up until you are, under drugs or alcohol or something that, allows you to release that control. And then you're crying all the time, or you're, it's that perfectionism, procrastination, and paralysis, whatever it is. It will bite you if you don't deal with it. And I'll tell you, the one thing that helped too with moms, if you have a mom issue, and there's only 2 times in life when you don't have a mother issue: when you're born and when you die. Everybody Everybody has a mother's issue. But I love my past guest, Dr. Terry Cole Whitaker. No. Someone else. Edwene Gaines. She said, your mother's job is to pop you out. The rest is gravy. So if our expectations of our mother is what we were talking about before, Dr. Tiffanie, of, best friend and, think you're the blah, 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 you're going to be disappointed. But if your expectation is your mom's only job was to pop you out, then hey, the rest is gravy. Go ahead.
Absolutely. And I think that we just need to be aware of how we deal, whether it's with our mom, even our fathers. Some people have daddy issues too. Mm-hmm. So we've dealt a lot with mom, but some people actually have father issues. So don't sleep on that either. Whether it's your fathers, whether it's your best friend or ex-best friend, we want to make sure you try to communicate, you build bridges. And if you don't get that apology, you want to make sure you don't bear that burden of resentment, because it only affects and hurts you. You cannot let somebody else be responsible for your happiness. You are responsible for your own happiness. So you need to forgive, not for them, but for you.
Yeah, exactly. That saying, unforgiveness or resentment is like drinking poison, expecting the other person to die. My version of that is, I hate you. I don't want to look at you. So I'm going to gouge out my eyes so I don't have to do that, which is kind of stupid because then I can't see anything. Mm-hmm. And that is the reality of hatred. The reality of unforgiveness is it brings your entire level of energetic vibration down. So you're going to attract things that continue to irritate you. That's the law of attraction. It's not personal. That's just the way it works. It's like gravity. It's not personal. But I guarantee you, if you do not do the forgiveness work and you continue to hold those angry, justified anger people in your life, you will begin to attract other people like them into your life. Bosses, mates, friends. It's uncanny, but that's the law of attraction at work. Why am I so happy? Most of the time is because on a moment by moment basis, I ask myself, is this the best feeling thought I can have? And if I'm not feeling good, it's usually because I'm thinking about something or a situation that I am not happy about. And then I ask myself, is this a Dalai Lama moment? And Dalai Lama says, if there's a problem and a solution, there's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to be upset about. There's nothing to be angry about. If there's a problem and there's no solution, there's nothing to be worried about, angry about, fearful about, hate about. So is this under my control? No. What's the only thing under my control? My choice, the CH word, to react in the best feeling way. And that, my friends, is why I love my life. That, my friends, is why I have these incredible things continue to happen out of the blue. What cop moments? What are the chances of that? It's just this continuous joyride because I choose on a moment by moment basis to not sit in the negative, angry, revengeful, resentful way.
Mm-hmm. The reality is that we all are a product of our past, and we cannot let our past dictate our future. We can let it affect us and mold us, and we can learn from it, but we cannot let it negatively hold us down. If there are people, whether it be our parents or our friends, who have hurt us or wronged us, we have to learn to let it go. If they have not apologized to us, we have to let it go. If we want a relationship with them, we have to decide how we want to communicate with them. If they don't know that they have wronged us, we have to decide, do we want to talk to them and let them know that they have hurt us? because we are adults at this point, and it is all about communication. We have to learn to use our words. That's why God gave us the ability to talk. We are the higher species. So we have to use our words. We cannot just use our eyes and use them to cut and roll them at people. We have to use our words and verbalize how we're feeling in a nice, respectful way, especially if we want to preserve the relationship. We can't raise our voice. And if we can't find the ability to do that, then we actually might want to write it in a nice way and give them a letter. But other than that, if we don't want to preserve the relationship, that's a different story. Either way, you want to forgive so that you can move on and you can be healthy and you can be happy. What you don't want to do is have a bad relationship and it negatively affect you and your health, because our concern is about you. And as you prepare to enter the holiday, in the holiday season, we have Thanksgiving, we have Christmas, we have New Year's, we have Hanukkah, we have Kwanzaa, we have whatever holiday festival you and your family decide to celebrate. We want you to celebrate it in a way that is enjoyable and relaxing, not stressful, resentful, angry, and frustrating. So figure out a way to navigate this and negotiate your relationships with whomever you need to so that you can be happy or at least relaxed.
Absolutely. When to hold and when to fold. And I think this is one of the balance out things around, why am I wanting them to think differently? And this is where I'm a little biased on communication. I'm one who like if I'm staying up all night to write a letter to try to get them to change the way they're thinking about a situation or about me, those days are over, because what right do I have, or is this even like a good use of my time or energy to change someone's mind about something that they probably aren't going to change their mind about? And why do I think I have the commodity on the truth, right? Can I allow them to have that truth, right, without trying to change their truth and still have a happy, good, high-flying time? Now, if I bring myself down, I think Troy said that before, by trying to go to their level, then I'm hurting me. So I would much rather, instead of saying you hurt my feelings, which maybe for me, I'm a little more testosterone. I don't like those, it's not your job to make me happy. It's my job to make me happy. So if you say something to piss me off, I have a choice. And this is what I do. Instead of, I will, and maybe this is not the best way to do it, but I have a very small circle of friends simply because I don't want to have to tussle with people around their BS, their belief systems. And so, like, for example, when my mom will say, have you gained weight? Instead of, Mom, that hurts my feelings. Don't say that, please. Da 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 da, because the relationship matters. I'm never going to change her. I'm not going to change the way she thinks. So for me, my thing is to say, gotta go, Mom. I've got a meeting and love you. Talk to you later. And I'll hang up, right? If someone insults me and I hear about it, I don't have anything to do with that person. I'm not going to use my time to go back and say, I heard that you did. It's like, there's so many people in the world that I can deal with. Why would I want to go and deal with someone who has an opinion about me that, isn't true, or I don't believe their opinion. Therefore, it doesn't zing me. However, I also don't want to have to come across them, because then I'm putting myself in that situation of harm. So for me, there's a little more, I'm less a big proponent of communication, as I want to take care of myself. Now, because of that,
the relationship. So I think in that situation, if it's, somebody who you don't necessarily need a relationship with, you're triaging. So I think if it's a stranger, who cares what their opinion is? I think that's reasonable. If it's your mom, that's a little bit more in depth. You can eventually, when you decide you want to deal with her, you can. But I mean, if you don't,
I've dealt with her. She's apologized, and then she took the apology back. So she is who she is, and I love her, and God bless her, and I am of service to her. But I cannot change her.
Mm-hmm. You got to love her you got to love her as she is. I get
it. Exactly. But we're coming up at the end. Final word from Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
I would say guard your heart, guard your mind, know who you're dealing with. And again, I recommend triaging, because know who you're dealing with. And if the relationship matters, take the time to preserve it if that is what you want to do. But remember when we talked about journey to the center of you matter the most in your relationship. So always prioritize you.
Yeah, absolutely. The opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of hate is not love. The opposite of getting zinged and drawn into all of that is called indifference. If you can have something said, and it is like the Teflon and the glue that you were talking about, that is the ultimate, to say, I'm sorry you feel that way. That's not the truth for me. God bless you. So that, to me, and then like behind their back, I can jump up and down with their face on the ground for 16 seconds, or bite my pillow, or do a silent scream. But that for me is the solution for having the best holiday ever. You deserve to claim your birthright to be happy 88% of the time. Thank you, Dr. Tiffanie. As usual, the time flies because we're having fun. Thank you for the topic. It's all about balance, folks. Peace in, peace out, world. Peace through inner peace. I know you're going to have the best Thanksgiving ever. Tomorrow we're replaying Straight Talk with James, my newest co-host. And then we'll see you back Friday on Tempting Conversations with Alon Carter.
Gobble, gobble till you wobble, wobble.
May your turkey be tender and your carrots be sweet. Have the best.